Hello and welcome. My name is Freddie Talbot, a CUI expert at CorrosionRADAR. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Dr. Prafull Sharma, CTO and co-founder. Welcome, Prafull.
Thank you, Freddie. Good morning from the bright and sunny Cambridge.
Today we're going to be discussing what the latest CUI monitoring standard and CorrosionRADAR product updates mean for our asset owners. CUI, as we know, is a global problem. It falls into four key buckets: finances, high inspection costs and maintenance costs. The two, safety. Risk of loss and primary containment. Leaks happen and they happen frequently. Thirdly, risk of unscheduled shutdown. CUI is unpredictable. 70% of CUI inspections do not find any CUI. And finally, regulation inspections as well in different markets across the world. So now I've shared why CUI is such a challenge and a problem and something we need to address. I'll hand over to Prafull to see what industry and experts are doing to tackle this challenge. Over to you, Prafull.
Thank you, Freddie. So CUI, as you have articulated, is a global problem and it's a big asset integrity threat. To tackle that, CUI monitoring entered a few years back as a technology to address and predict CUI and manage in a better way. And now we are seeing standards, global standards being changed. So this is an update on that. So CUI monitoring standards, like inspection standards, I think it sits in between inspection and corrosion monitoring. So it's and also it touches upon risk management, so it touches about RPI as well. We are seeing two different types of adoption standards. One is on the industry body, the likes of API, the likes of DNV, and there are many other regional bodies. They are also considering changing their standards. I will have a specific update in the next few slides, but in this case, we know at this point that American Petroleum Institute is changing their CUI management recommended practices, due for next year sometime to be released, and we are part of the committee which is changing that. We know also that DNV have released a standard called DNV RP109, which incorporates CUI monitoring in their CUI risk assessments. So I highly encourage the audience to look at that. We will also touch upon specific technology standards, which we'll talk about CUI RP101. So that's on the industry body adoption on the left hand side. On the right hand side, we see an operator adoption. So we know that there are a few operators I can't name for confidentiality reasons, but some of them are in the US, some of them are in the Middle East, and European ones. They have either made the change across the petrochemicals industry or oil and gas, LNG, gas operations. There are different kind of companies. They have either changed their incorporated CUI monitoring in their inspection standards or asset management standards, or they are in the process of doing it. But at least 3 companies we know, operators we know, who have already done it. So it's high time for everybody to take this in their internal standards. So with that, we'll move to the next one. CUI RP101. This is a new practice guidance for deploying and maintaining corrosion and insulation monitoring system. CorrosionRADAR have hosted that standard and with inputs from various companies across the globe who have used CUI monitoring at a larger scale. That includes Aramco, Dow Chemicals, Chevron, INEOS, and to start with. This was released last year in 2024, December. And a new update is going to be planned to be by December 2026. So we're in the process of that. Now what this contains, the first edition contains, it provides practical guidance on CUI monitoring, which assets to select, how to validate performance. It also sets how to implement this, say post installation, how do you maintain it, service delivery and integration, and it provides a very structured approach of CUI monitoring systems. What the core contents of CUI RP101 is, obviously it provides on the left hand side, you can see that how do you select the assets? What are the criteria of selecting the assets? Because CUI monitoring is not for all kind of assets. The return on investment needs to stack up. So there are best practices of asset selections. For example, high risk assets like sweating service or intermittent operations in petrochemicals, or say like gas operations are most suitable candidates. The second middle pillar is about how do you design a deployment if you have to do early validations, how do you do validations, qualifications, and system design in the sense layout, the corrosion monitoring locations, what are the guiding principles of that. Obviously, experts can do that. On the right hand side is once it is installed, how does it change the asset inspection strategies? So how does it affect RBI? How does it affect risk assessments? Because some of the assets will not be monitored and some of the assets are being monitored. So how that harmonization happens, maintenance management systems, and who needs to manage it? Is it managed by equipment, instrumentation team, or inspection team, or corrosion team? So this is covered in consultation with them. This is available on request, but only after approval from the core committee who have made this, the key operators. We take approval from them and then share it, but it's available on request. So that's an update on the CUI RP101. And when the industry bodies comes out with their own standards, API and DNV, we will update. Over to Freddie.
Thank you, Prafull. It's great to hear and very encouraging to hear the industry and operator adoption of CUI monitoring and how CorrosionRADAR is playing a role in that. So now I'm going to briefly talk about the new data logger release for CorrosionRADAR LR. This is the next generation node for the product. Really excited to share the new features with you today. So in summary, we have reduced size and reduced weight. This means a simpler access and installation, a more flexible installation possible. We have an optional temperature sensing feature. This will help you gain deeper insight into the asset health with temperature inputs. Fourthly, optimized battery, a longer battery, less maintenance required. And finally, enhanced connectivity, improving delivery of both moisture and the corrosion data. In terms of how the CorrosionRADAR LR system works and where the new data logger plays a role in this, we see the new data logger here connected to our moisture and corrosion sensors. As a reminder, CorrosionRADAR has two sensors, one moisture and one corrosion, continuously monitoring for both moisture and corrosivity rates under the insulation of your piping or vessel. These sensors connect via either long-range gateway or Bluetooth, and this connects to the dashboard, which I'll go through in more detail very shortly. We cover a number of different assets and vessels and piping, including column, vessel, storage tank. And on the right-hand side, we see some of our data specifications. Here we see an example of our CR Clarity dashboard. You see a 3D render on the right-hand side. What this helps you to do is identify the low, medium, and high risk areas of both moisture and CUI risk. Our data is continuously monitoring and helps provide action and recommendations on next steps in terms of what you should do with this data. We provide a corrosivity risk from very low to very high to really understand the environment under that insulation. The benefits of CorrosionRADAR LR, we're helping to move from a more reactive approach to a more predictive and optimized approach for CUI. We're helping to provide quality assurance on insulation and cladding. Thirdly, optimizing inspection costs and decreasing the inspection frequency, continuously monitoring for that moisture and CUI. We can also optimize the turnaround planning as well, whilst reducing the risk of CUI associated with LOPC, loss of primary containment. Shortly, I'll be sharing a recent case study of our new data logger in the field, which I'm very excited to share with you, but a brief recap of some of our key customers globally and different applications. We have a number of customers in the US, such as Chevron, Dow, and INEOS. Our customers in Europe include Shell, Total, and Eni. And across the Middle East, we have many systems online with Aramco, ADNOC, and across to Far East Asia, we have PTT and Hibiscus Petroleum. Different climates, different applications, all requiring CorrosionRADAR LR monitoring. So what we see here is an example of our new data logger in action. This is in Turkey with Tüpraş. A key value driver for Tüpraş was frequent breaches of containment incidents due to CUI. What they really wanted to do was understand the nature of sweating and moisture pooling caused by temperature transitions and fluctuations, which were caused by the powering on and off of their pipeline. And what our data logger has enabled to do with the help of our sensors and dashboard is we're helping to introduce RBI strategies into Tüpraş's CUI management processes and help them move from a reactive approach to CUI to a more predictive approach to CUI. So that briefly wraps up a short update on industry adoption and operator adoption of CorrosionRADAR, including the CUI RP101. We're also really excited to share with you our new data logger, and how this is helping to optimize your CUI inspection strategy. As always, for any more questions, please do feel free to reach out to us. And until next time, goodbye.
Thank you.